is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
It is ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. It is a good Friday, y'all. Not Easter one, but it's just a good Friday all the way around. We want to welcome you into the show, and we also just want to start off by saying thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. And we are free and available wherever you download your podcast. If you go to youtube.com, put in the little search box, say Locked On Sports Atlanta, or you can drop in ATL Day Ones. We will pop up when we will be there for you. We are here Monday through Friday, each and every day. You can come and check us out. Make sure you go ahead and do that. And last but not least, I have one more request. Leave us a 5-star review once you get there. Whenever you get your podcast, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get that bad boy, because, you know, if you don't, no, I ain't going to be violent today. I'm not going to choose violence today. You know what? Yes, I am. I'm going to eliminate you from the playoffs like Luka Doncic got eliminated last night. Ooh. Yes, I choose violence today.
Don't trust and believe. We got something to talk about, but we will somehow insert some of that up in there.
Indeed, that's for sure. We're going to start out talking about the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to talk about why this season feels just a little different. It just feels a little different. And, you know, in our deep dive segment, as Tenitra kind of forementioned, Kevin Durant, does it make sense for the Hawks? We'll discuss that. And last but not least, and for the culture, Major League Baseball just can't get it right. Damn it. Major League Baseball, what is wrong with you? Let's get it together. But before we get to all that, the Atlanta Falcons were back at it yesterday at OTAs. This time, the veterans were there, you know, along with the rookies. You know, we had rookie mini camps a few weeks back. And I think that the one thing that has really stood out to me with Arthur Smith, he's been very consistent about the type of guys that he wants, right? He knows that he wants guys, you know, that have chips on their shoulder. He even went as far as to say that, hey, I'm going to coach with a chip on my shoulder. And I think one of the things that really just stood out to me is that when Grady Jarrett was speaking to the media after practice, he kind of threw out the fact that there are a lot of guys being brought in that he actually liked. Yeah. And when you think about the mantra that Arthur Smith has, and you kind of mesh that with the Grady Jarrett, right? That's like a perfect match, right? That's like a match made in heaven, because Grady Jarrett is the chip. You know, he's the epitome of chip on the shoulder type guy. So I just think it's interesting because, you know, looking at, you know, listening to Coach talk and listening to Grady talk, and now I'm starting to think like, okay, this regime is really starting to get their type of guy in. And I think this year we're really going to see what Arthur Smith is made of.
Agreed. And to harken back to phraseology, we would always hear in the old regime, fast and physical,
and a lot of time it was just that. Nothing behind it.
Oftentimes, unfortunately, that seemed like more style than substance. Actually, with Arthur Smith, I think you get a little bit low-key style and substance. And when I say that, meaning style, because you are going to get that same package, if you will, fast and physical style of play, if you will. But the substance comes from, okay, wait a minute. You need a little bulkiness, you need a little speed, you need a little edge in your approach in order to actually execute that. So fast and physical with the tools to execute it, because he likes, you know, big, so that you can actually be physical. So whether you are physical coming off the line as a wide receiver, or whether you are physical down in the trenches with individuals that he's bringing to hopefully give some help, whether you're on that front line or whether you're on that next line with the linebacking core, now you're actually seeing somebody who, oh, okay, well, you say fast and physical too, but I can kind of see where that can actually happen for you. So, yeah, I think that's one of the key components of why it feels a little bit different. And when you're hearing consistency in the messaging, but you're actually seeing things to go to actually support that. And the only way you can
The tangible things,
there
yeah.
you go. The only way you can
Hmm.
see it now, Jarvis, because we have not seen a game yet, whether preseason, regular season, we haven't seen even anybody in pads. The only thing we can go by is, are you consistent in who you've gone after in the draft and who you've gone after in the offseason? And there is a pattern there. And I'd like to say, at least at this point in the offseason, the pattern's good.
Yeah, the pattern is good. And speaking of the pattern, I think that one thing that we've kind of, talked about in the pre-show thing, like who is a person that needs to follow that pattern to the T, so they can probably, if I can use that pun, the most is it, like who should be the guy that is the hungriest, maybe so they can eat that chip and have a good season
Yeah.
this year. Who's the guy that comes to mind for you?
No question. And that's like you said, the question we asked, because he talked about having a chip on his shoulder and being hungry. And that's the attitude and the approach that this team is going to take. And I say, okay, then, well, I hope there's a big enough chip on your shoulder that you are ready to knock that bad boy off through your play. And that is Caleb McGarry. Because I know if I'm him, Jarvis, and I keep hearing about that guy who plays next to me and everybody is lauding him, right? That
Mm-hmm.
being Chris Lindstrom. You're hearing it from the
Yeah, buddy.
outside where he's getting graded at the top for at his position at right guard, and then you're hearing it from inside, right, where you'll hear from veterans like we would hear from Alex Mack, but now we even continue to hear from Jake Matthews and coaches as
Yes.
well. Just how good and how much he keeps growing. Whereas the commentary, unfortunately, has continued to be the same for Caleb McGarry as well. If that is somebody who I'm playing next to, and also that I got drafted 13 or so spots, 15 or so spots below, man, listen, as they say, I would be really, really hungry to prove myself, and also hungry to prove myself because the Falcons chose not to go with that fifth year option for me. They did not pick it up. So
Right.
it's definitely time that I'm feeling like I'll show and prove. Now, I'll keep it on offense because I definitely know you have somebody as well. And if we got a little time, we'll get a sneak peek into our hungry person on defense too. But I want to hear about your thoughts.
You know what? I think that that Ken Gray is a great point, and he's kind of got off to a decent start because he looks different. He
Yes.
changed his body. I talk about that all the time. Like you'll tell how hungry a player is by the way he changes his body
Mhm.
when certain things happen, right?
Yes.
And mainly whether or not I'm going to be able to stay in the NFL.
Yes.
If I want to stay in the NFL, let me change my body first. Let me start there. Like,
Yes.
and you kind of saw, once he came in, he was like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, you're getting a little cut in your arms. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So okay, you're starting to work out. But
Mhm.
you still have to go out on the field and return. But he's at
Right.
least off to a good start.
Yes.
And I know you thinking that I'm probably gonna go defense, but I gotta stick on that offense, T.
Sure. Yeah.
I gotta go to Jalen Mayfield. Like you cannot
I'm
be
with
the
that too.
worst offensive
About him too.
lineman in the league. Like you just can't. That just can't
Yeah.
happen again this year.
Yeah.
You were drafted in the third round by this regime, so you can't write it off like Matt Hennessy. Oh yeah, he was drafted by those dudes, DQ
Right.
and TD. Yeah,
Right.
we'll write that off in that. Yeah, you'll get a pass for that, but
Yeah.
not this guy. Nope. Third round draft pick, Jalen
Yeah.
Mayfield. You
Mhm.
need to be better. You need to have that chip on your shoulder. Whether or
Yeah.
not you got to conjure it up, or like you said, you can do like Caleb McGarry and say, "Hey man, I'm gonna hit this weight room. I'm
Right.
gonna see. You gonna see the difference in me,
Mhm.
just from a physical standpoint. And then once we get on the field, you're gonna see the difference. And
Oh yeah.
he has to do that this year in order for me to say, you know what? Okay, this guy, is going to be better this year. And
Mhm.
I don't think that, anything outside of that from him,
Right.
I think it's gonna be a red flag for Terry Fontenot as far as his evaluation of offensive lineman.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. And that regime, the Fontenot Smith regime, has shown us that ultimately, if you're not cutting it, no pun intended, Jalen Mayfield, but if you are not cutting it, they're not going to give you as much runway, if you will, or as much opportunity to keep course correcting as the previous regime. They know they have the opportunity to make some changes. The dollars are going to give them the opportunity even more so next year. So guess what? They're going to do it if you don't show improve this season. But you know who needs to show improve too? That you say you are just up to here with
Mm.
your Braves, your boys. Man, that was
Oh
troubling last
gosh,
night, Jarvis. Trouble.
man, golly, like Real Muto, got the party started for the Phillies, and just Aaron Nola just mowing down dudes. Like went all the way to the ninth inning, and of course, once the Braves scored, they took him out, and then brought guy into kind of shut things down to kind of cut that off before anything got started, and I'm not sitting going and say act like Aaron Nola is not excellent pitcher, but it is his first win in probably about a month and a half, or maybe what I'm saying. So it's not like he's been doing well, but you hate that the Braves may have actually started something within him, but you know what I mean. I was like, you hate to be that team.
They might have awakened Aaron Nola,
right? Yeah, y'all been waking the sleeping giant or something like that. So yeah, I think, but it just kind of sucks, and you can see the frustration. With Contreras last night striking out, breaking his bat. I'm just like, this team is just flailing around. They don't have any answers, and that's the scary part. Yeah, that's the scary part because Snicker. After the press conference, and we got used to that last year all the way up until July, but you don't. And I think in saying that, we have to stop comparing to last year, right? I think that's has to stop being the conversation. Like we will no longer, and if you don't mind, I will not talk about last year. Last year, all that's done on this show. That it is a wrap for that. We are not going to talk about last year. Yes,
I'm going to try. However, there will be moments where it's hard not to, because you're looking at certain individuals. You're looking at a Darno, you're looking at an Albies, you're looking at a Duvall, and you're saying, okay, you guys were on this squad last year, and I know what you did. And yet last night you're going 0 for 4, right? Arcia and Heredia, you're going 0 for 3. And then I'm looking at last year, and I just cannot help but we haven't seen 3 straight games, 3 straight winning games. So we haven't seen a 3-game win streak yet. The last time you went this deep into a season without it was 2 decades ago. The only thing I can say that was good about last night, as we hope that they reset tonight for the Marlins, and we hope that Ian Anderson can get it done against Trevor Rogers. The only thing I can say is I would like to thank Jock Peterson. So I'm going to just tip the hat one more time to last year. Just want to thank you for going yard 3 times against the Mets a couple nights ago, and then with the walk-off, and then also going yard on them last night. Because at least the Giants won, because the Mets were going to Met. And as long as the Braves going to Brave, we need the Mets to Met. Thank you, John, for what you did.
Could we have signed him instead of Eddie Rosario? Hey, my bad. Sorry. I had to bring that in there. You know what I mean? Like, the fan in me wanted to bring the hindsight 2020. But, hey, it is what it is.
We know.
We're going to bring something to you in the next segment when we go to our deep dive. How about this one? Kevin Durant. Does he sound like he'll be a match in a Hawks uniform? What would that look like? We will discuss that next on ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and T, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta.